Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel today. My name is Christian and today we're here to talk about the new and surprise record from Northlane. It is titled Mesmer. It is their fourth studio record and the follow-up to 2015's Node. Now, when Node came out that couple of years ago, I was really not a big fan. It felt like they'd gone for this new sound with a new vocalist in Marcus Bridge, and they kind of failed at it. It was kind of like they were half-assing progressive metal and half-assing metalcore, and so I just really wasn't a fan of it. Mesmer is Northlane's second record with Marcus, and although it is a better record overall than Node was, it's not by a lot. There are still a lot of very mediocre songs on there. However, Northlane have picked a sound that they want to sound like, and they've stuck to that on this record, but sometimes that's to its detriment. So let's get into it. Straight out of the gates, we get Citizen, which is a very good representation of what this record sounds like. Obviously, as soon as you listen to this song, you realize they've abandoned that attempt at progressive metal and gone back to metalcore, but unfortunately, it's without the same ferocity that they had before. Now, this could be down to just the fact that they now have Marcus as a vocalist, as he leans more to that clean vocal side rather than the screaming side. And when he does scream, it doesn't really have the same fucking anger to it that they did with their previous vocalists. There are moments on this record where the instrumental really accompanies Marcus's voice well, but a lot of the time it sounds like Northlane just want Marcus to sound like Adrian, and it just doesn't work. The production on this record is a real hindrance as well. There are a lot of moments, especially in the drumming, that just get lost. There are a lot of moments where you'll be listening and the drummer will be playing something really technical, but you can't really hear what he's playing, and that's a lot of the time it's down to the snare being just so low in the mix. It's just very odd to me. Northlane's drummer has always been a real highlight of their sound, and on the last two records, he's kind of become a background feature. You can really hear this production issue in a song like Intuition, where basically the entire snare gets lost. You used to be able to pick up every single little ghost note that this drummer was playing, but now you can barely hear any of it. However, when they get down into those softer ambient sections where it's basically just drums and bass, you can hear the drums really well. I just wish they'd put that much care into them in the more aggressive sections. The most interesting part of this record for me is in the electronic instrumentation. Throughout their entire career, the electronic elements of Northlane's music has always been a major highlight. It's like Northlane realized that some of the riffs they use don't really sound full enough, so they add these electronic elements behind them to really beef it up and make it sound huge. And it works really well, and there are also some moments where the electronic elements really take over an entire section, like in the introduction for 01. Another highlight of the electronics on this record is in the song Savage, where it goes down to this break where it's just a whole bunch of ambient electronics with some really cool ambient vocals weaving their way throughout it. The electronic elements really add something very interesting to this record sound that a lot of the other instrumentation fails to do, and without this electronic stuff there, I don't know how much interest I'd have in the record. A big highlight on this record is the track Solar, which sees Northlane go back to that progressive sound that they experimented with on Node, but this time they commit 100%. This is the only song on the entire record that I really like, and it's got a great vocal performance on there. I really like that they left out screamed vocals from the song completely and just play to Marcus's strengths as a clean vocalist, and it just works perfectly for the sound of this song. This song really reminds me of a song that the Butterfly Effect would have released back in the day, and hearing that sound incorporated into Northlane's sound is a really cool thing, and I just wish they'd gone down that avenue a bit more. However, speaking of vocals, unfortunately for me, Marcus's vocals still don't connect. This is especially in the dirtier, screamed vocals where, to me, to my ears, they just sound a bit too amateur. I know that he's only been doing it for a little while, but it's all over this record, and it just doesn't hit me in any kind of way that emits any type of emotion. And as far as these clean vocals go, I really don't think he does enough with them. I would have liked to have seen some more experimentation melodically throughout this record like we hear on Solar. But the real problem here is with the lyrics. Now, for those of you who don't know, on Node, Marcus had absolutely nothing to do with the lyrics. He basically just helped to write the melody. And so I don't know if that changed on this record, but even if it did, it made no difference because the lyrics throughout the record, just are so amateurly written and just there's no poetic nature to them at all. And a real example of this would be with the first single, Intuition. So if you want to just hear what I mean, go and listen to that song, and I think my point will come across. However, the biggest problem with this record is a very simple but major one, and that's really just the lack of variety in the songwriting, in the riffing, and in the structuring. There are outliers like Solar and Fade, but way too many times they are overwhelmed by just riff after riff after riff that sounds the exact same. And even with the varying electronic elements that are peppered throughout this record, they're not enough to differentiate each song from each other. And it just makes the whole record drag, and by the end of listening to it, you can only really think of 2 or 3 moments that really stood out to you as something different. Overall, this is a really, really disappointing record from Northlane, a band that I once thought could do some really big things all around the world. But this lack of originality and this lack of variation is a real detriment to this record. Sure, there are some outliers where there are some really cool moments, but it's just far too few and far between, is what I'm trying to say. So it just doesn't do anything for me. My top 3 tracks are going to be Solar, Fade, and Veridian, and I'm going to give this record a 2.5 out of 5. Anyway, what did you guys think about the record? Let me know your thoughts and opinions down below in the comment section. Did you like the record? Did you not like the record? Let me know down below. We're here to have a conversation about music, so let's do that. But if you're just going to fill up the comment section with hate and insults, just know I'm going to read those comments and laugh at how pathetic your life is. Anyway, thanks for watching my video today, guys. Please hit subscribe down below, and I will see you next time. Fresh Currents.